I thought that before we look at the actual hardware here, uh, we just take a look at what's going on behind the scenes inside the VoiceIt, just so that there's no confusion. This is really a simple concept in that you've got a collection of inputs that you could provide to the VoiceIt, and they're simply going to trigger the playing of a WAV file that are on the SD card. So you've got all your various RFID inputs, whether it's a little sticky tag or a fob or rigid tags, or those cards that you often see people use for entrance to buildings. And you can write text on those. Then you can create your own using online tools, to create your own QR codes and barcodes. And they can also, you can encode text on those. And text is the key here, whether it's alphabetic characters or numeric characters. And then also there are commercial barcodes on just about anything that you buy. This code over here is a picture from a bottle of vitamin D. This one over here is a picture of the barcode on a board book called Goodnight Moon. And the whole purpose of the VoiceIt is either to read these RFID tags and or read these QR and barcodes. Find out what text is associated with that tag or code, and then go searching for a file on the SD card that has that same text followed by .wav. This is a WAV file, it's an audio file. And those audio files are organized into folders on the SD card. So if you look at the top level of the SD card, you'll see there's a folder called EN. EN is short for English. ES, which is short for Spanish. These are standard codes. And then there's also an error audio file and a startup audio file. And let's just listen to what these two sound like. Here's that folder that contains English audio files. Here's the folder that contains Spanish audio files. And here's what you'll hear if the VoiceIt recognizes the code or the contents of the tag, but when it goes to look for a file to play, it can't find the file. I'm going to double click on this. Try that again. So that's a success in a sense. It means the VoiceIt did recognize the tag and was able to read it, or recognized the barcode and was able to read it. It just couldn't find an audio file to play in association with whatever text it found associated with that code or that RFID tag. And then every time you start up the VoiceIt or do a reset, you'll hear this sound. All right, so you've probably heard all those sounds already. Now, let's take a look at what's inside these folders. So in the English folder, there's a subfolder here, and what you can put anything in subfolders, any audio files you want. In this case, we've just taken, let's see if we slide this to the side. This GM folder just contains, if we look down here, it just contains information about or audio files for the book Goodnight Moon. And because it's in a subfolder of EN, all of these audio files are in English. You'll see that when we go look at the Spanish folder, it looks exactly the same. It's just by playing any of those files, you'll get the Spanish version. So let's just start here first of all. And I want you to notice that the number here before the WAV file just happens to match exactly this number down here on the barcode associated with Goodnight Moon. So this file contains an audio file for every page of Goodnight Moon, where each page is separated by a ding sound as an indication that the page should turn. Then we've got all the audio files for the Bliss tactile symbols. And finally, there's a file over here, enlanguage.wave, that just contains information about what language you've selected. So if I double click on this, I'll hear
English.
So what's going to happen is when you change to this folder, it's assuming it contains associated or audio files associated with a particular language. The voicer will automatically play this this file. It's the name of the folder, an underscore, and the word language.
English.
If I change to GM folder, here are all the pages associated with Goodnight Moon. And when I change to this folder, I'm going to play a file, if I can find it there, called GM, the name of the folder, underscore info. And the way we've used this for Goodnight Moon is it just plays the name of the book.
Goodnight Moon.
In this case, in English, because we're in a subfolder of the EN top folder. And there are a couple of files in here that are repeated here and in the folder up above. It's just the entire book. This file is automatically played by reading the barcode. And this file over, where are you? This file here is just what's played whenever it comes across a different kind of code, like an RFID tag or a QR code or barcode that you created that has the letters capital G, capital M, underscore COMPLETE. So it's playing this file just like it plays every other file. It looks for a WAV file that has the same text in its name as whatever was encoded on the tag. How do you get the Voiceit to play files in specific folders here? Well, and that's indicated in this picture as well. If I encode a tag with an asterisk and the letters EN, then the Voiceit will automatically look for a folder with that, a top level folder with those letters after the asterisk, go into the folder and immediately play the underscore language file that it finds there. If I'm in a particular top level folder and I come across a tag or a barcode that has 2 asterisks and then some letters, it looks for the subfolder with those letters and then automatically plays, let's see, go into GM. Oh, here it is down here. It automatically plays whatever file it finds in that subfolder with the same beginning as the name of the folder, an underscore, and the word info. Anytime it comes across something with a single star, it just jumps up to the top and enters that folder instead. So it's fairly easy to switch from one language to another just by showing the Voiceit a tag or a barcode or a code of any kind that has an asterisk and the letters associated with the folder that you want it to go back to. So if I was playing something, playing one of these because I had presented a barcode with the letters ARM, and I wanted to immediately switch to Spanish, all I have to do is show it a tag or code with contents asterisk ES, and it will jump up, enter this folder, and then immediately play ES underscore language.
Español.
So it's assuming that every one of these top level folders is a different language. And um, there is nothing to this process that is um, hardwired, hard coded. I could have named this ESSS. It didn't matter as long as when I want to get there, I get into this folder, I present it with a tag or an RFID tag or a barcode QR code that has an asterisk ESSS, and it will automatically put me in that folder, and it will look for a file called ESSS underscore language.wave and play it. It wouldn't even have to be a language per se, as long as you follow this convention. This folder could hold whatever audio files you want. So for example, I could have a folder called recipes at this level. I would enter it with a tag that said star recipes. And then inside, maybe I have a recipes underscore language audio file that says choose your recipe or what recipe. And then I have a bunch of subfolders for each of the recipes. And within those subfolders, maybe step-by-step instructions on how to assemble that recipe. So there is a certain convention that was used in creating this set of files here, but as long as you follow, as long as you follow some convention, a star gets you into the top folder, which then plays the underscore language file that's in there. A double star gets you into a subfolder of whatever this is, and automatically plays the underscore info audio file. And where you go from there is up to you. Now let's look at the VoiceIt in action at some level of detail. First thing I'll point out is this is a complete VoiceIt in that it has all the functionality possible. It has the QR code reading module, QR code barcode reading module. It has a target here for RFID tags. It supports both an external speaker and there's an internal amplifier. Here's the volume control access point, and we see the grill on the bottom because there's an internal speaker. So before we begin, I want to reset the VoiceIt so we always know what is sort of the starting state. And let me bring up the directory, the contents of the micro SD card. So here's the contents of the micro SD card. There's a top level folders, one EN, one is called ES, an error file, and a startup.wave file. So I'm going to begin again by resetting the VoiceIt, and then I'm going to slowly count to 5. I want to hear the startup tone right around 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. I counted a little too slowly there, but around 5. If you haven't heard it by around 5, around 6, then it's possible that the battery is discharged and you need to recharge it. We start with the RFID tags again, and you can see they come in a variety of forms, both the stick-on tags that that can be included inside the body of a Bliss tactile symbol, or any place else you just want to stick a tag on. Fobs, and for this exercise we'll be using the fobs that have been encoded with the instructions to change directory, top level directory, which means they start with the encoding starts with an asterisk and then whatever the name of the folder is that it should enter at the top level. Standard RFID card that you see in many places, like for entrance to a building, and a rigid card or rigid tag that I actually have embedded inside this plush toy. So let's just begin by just using each one of these, and let's hear what it sounds like. So remember that by default, the software starts up in the EN folder. It's looking for this folder, and we're using that to store English recordings of things. So this flexible art, yeah, it's encoded with the letters M-O-R-E. Remember, we started inside this folder, so it's just looking for a WAV file in here that begins with the letters M-O-R-E.
More.
This tag is encoded with the letters EAT, so it's looking for EAT.wave.
Eat. Eat.
Yeah, I dragged it past it too fast there. This rigid round card or tag has the letters CRAB, crab, on it.
Crab.
And I can change to the other language, because if I present it with a tag, any kind, any one of these could be encoded with the letters asterisk ES, and we did see the same result. So this fob has asterisk ES encoded on it.
Español.
So it immediately changed from this folder up and into ES, and then played the ES_.wave file. And now when I use one of these cards, I get the Spanish version because that's what's been recorded in the WAV file.
Más. Comer. Cangrejo.
All right. Now, so this card has, this tag has asterisk CN on it, as if we had a Chinese directory. And again, there's nothing special about the names of the directories, just that you match whatever the name of the directory is with what you encode on the tag. Now there is no, we go back up here, there is no CN folder. So what is it going to do when it gets this? Well, it's going to play the error sound. I want you to get familiar with what that sound sounds like. So the error sound is actually kind of valuable. It tells you that it can read whatever you've just given it, but when it went to look for that thing, it couldn't find it. So in this case, it's looking for a top level folder with the letters CN. But the same thing can happen inside a folder. So later we'll see cases where we're in the EN folder, but there's nothing in that folder with the letters that are encoded on the tag or on the QR code or on the barcode. And so it just gives us the error sound. And let's see, what does it do when it's in a folder and it's looking for some top level folder but can't find it? Where am I right now? Well, let's go ahead and play something and see where we were. Excuse me, where we are. We were in the Spanish, the ES folder.
Más.
So we stay in that folder. So if it can't find the other thing, it just stays where it is in the ES folder. Okay, back to English.
English.
So that changed from the ES, changed from being in the ES folder up and now into the EN folder.
Crab.
All right, on to the next thing. All right, now let's talk about settings for the QR code barcode reader. So it has a lot of functionality in it that's independent of reading a particular uh, code or barcode or QR code. So one of the things that we do by default is we turn off a lot of the sound that would otherwise be produced by the module itself, because we want to create an environment where whoever is using this isn't being hit by sounds that may be distracting or no longer motivating, or maybe make someone afraid. So, but for the purpose of demonstration here, I want you to know that you can tell when something has been read properly. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use this tag, I keep calling it a tag because it's a piece of paper. We're going to use this QR code to tell the module that anytime it gets a high-level settings instruction, it should play 3 beeps. Actually, it's this side. And these codes are all provided for you in a Word document or a PDF, I believe, document. You can just cut them out of a printed page like I did. So I'm going to turn on the setting that plays 3 beeps when it gets a setting level change, not just generally reading codes. And then I'm going to turn on sounds when it reads a code successfully. I'm going to use this QR code for that purpose. So let's just do that now. So we'll start with the turn on the sounds when you get a settings change. So it does it automatically even on the seeing this one. Now we're going to turn on sounds whenever it successfully reads a code. We heard the 3 tones because it's a settings change from where it was. All right, so I'll set them aside a bit for a second. We're going to look at some barcodes and QR codes. So this is a barcode that I created using a free online service. I put the word different in there. It's not something that automatically happens, and it's not something that's necessary for the VoiceIt to understand the code. It's just for my benefit. Then I have codes for things that would be normally associated with the Bliss tactile symbols. So a code for the word goodbye, for hello, and this code here has the letters for hello, a comma, and then the letters for goodbye. So the way that the VoiceIt normally plays back sound files is if you give it 2 names separated by a comma, it will play them in order. Then this is a code for changing to a subdirectory. So it's got the 2 asterisk, a subfolder. So wherever you are at the time, if you're in EN or ES, and it sees this code, it will change to the GM subfolder, if there is one. If there isn't one, and it successfully reads the tag, then it will play that error sound. And I wanted to play that error sound up front before we turned on successful reading codes. The tone when it successfully reads a code is because we're going to hear 2 things in that case. If it can't successfully go or play what you tell it to do, you'll hear both the successful code. It did successfully read the tag, so you'll hear the beep for the successful read, and then you'll hear the follow-on error code because it couldn't find what it was told to go find. All right, let's let's give that a try, just with these these codes. Bring this guy back over, and let's start in English.
English.
And show that it can read a standard barcode.
Different.
So you heard the beep that said it successfully read the code, and then you heard the word pronounced because it's in the English folder, and it can go find a WAV file that starts with the word different.
Different.
Now we'll use the single word hello. It should be in English.
Hello.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
And the combination, both words separated by a comma.
Hello. Goodbye.
All right, we are in the English, I should get us in there. We're in the English folder. There's a GM subfolder there. So if I present the Voice It with this code, it'll change to the GM folder, and the default behavior here is it looks for a file called whatever the name of the folder is, in this case, capital G, capital M, _info.wave, and it's going to play that.
Good night, moon.
So that's what's in that WAV file. It went in here, and it found the GM info file and played it. If I give it this same instruction again, it will just stay in the folder it's in right now because it's already in a subfolder called GM, and play the GM_info.
Good night, moon.
Now in this folder there are recordings for individual pages, and I can play those. Here are the QR codes for individual pages. You'll see they match. Again, it doesn't care about the text here. That's only for my benefit. Get a good reading there. Page 11 and page 12. And again, it also doesn't care exactly what that text is, as long as there's a file that matches it. So you can name your pages whatever you want, including just page 1 or just 1, anything that's a valid file name. And at this point, the order doesn't matter. I can present it with page 11, even though I just in essence presented the book to it.
Good night, moon.
So that's page 11.
Good night, cow jumping over the moon.
And I could have presented those in the opposite order. Is just going and looking for a file with the text, the name that is the text encoded on the QR code or on the RFID tag. You'll see a GM_complete .wave file here. If I presented the Voice It with a code or an RFID tag that had the letters GM_complete encoded on it, it would play this file, whatever this file contains. And in this case, we've put this file both in the GM folder and up above. I'd have to scroll over. There, you put it both directly in the EN folder as well. So regardless of which folder you happen to be in at the time, if you tell it GM_complete, it will play this WAV file, and that WAV file has been constructed simply to include the sound for every page in the book, and every page turn is represented by a ding sound. I also have two codes here. I don't know why we're out of focus. Let me see. Get in focus. There we are. We also have two codes here, two QR codes for English and Spanish. So we can change this language directly with a QR code or a barcode, same way. The Voice It software, no matter what folder it's in, if it sees something with a single asterisk like this, it will go up to the top of the drive of the SD card and look for a folder immediately. Doesn't matter where it is at the time. Just to demonstrate again how this stuff behaves, remember our folder that doesn't exist, if we're in the GM subfolder right now of English. If I present it with this, it'll give me the error sound. Remember uh, the RFID card doesn't give you a tone if it successfully reads a card. The QR code module will do that because it has its own little built-in speaker and its own logic for that. But we told it to go up to the top level and find something. Here we go again. A folder with the letter CN as its name, but it couldn't find it. Played the error code. Where are we? Well, we haven't left the, even though I have on the screen here, we haven't left this GM folder in English. So if I come back again and present it with a code for a page.
Good night, cow jumping over the moon.
So we're still doing that in English. If I present it with Spanish.
Español.
Okay, we're now in as soon as I gave it a code with information for a folder we actually do have, it went and changed into the English, or sorry, the Spanish subfolder. I did do Spanish, right? So where are we now? We're in this Spanish subfolder. What happens if I give it this tag that says play page 12 of the GM book? Well, there is no page 12 GM book in this folder. I have to go to a subfolder to get there. So if I present it with this tag, what should happen, we'll see in a second if it does, I should get a successful reading tone because it was able to successfully read this code, but there is no file in this subfolder, or in this folder GM. Screwed that up. There is no GM underscore page 12 WAV file in this folder, in this ES folder. So let's see if that happens. Successful reading tone followed by error. So you got to hear them both there. If you've produced a code, you've produced something like this using some website, but it's not a valid code, and the voice it can't read it, you won't hear that successful read tone. That little beep, you won't hear that. You'll just hear silence. And that's trying to tell you, I don't know what you just put in front of me, but it's nothing that I can read as a QR code or a barcode. And if it can't read it, it's not going to pass that information to the voice it. You're not going to get either the successful reading tone or even an error tone. In order to get an error tone, it has to have successfully read the content of the tag or the code, and then gone and looked for the associated file but couldn't find it. All right, now let's look at the capability of the VoiceIt to read barcodes, and we've already done that with something like this barcode we created with the help of a free website. But there are barcodes on every commercial product. If there weren't a barcode on it, you couldn't buy it at the store because you couldn't go through self-checkout. So here are some items that have barcodes on them. Oh, Metamucil. Let's see, where's this one? Here it is right here. So what can we do with this? Well, we can record a special WAV file, or just a WAV file with whatever we would like the VoiceIt to say when it encounters a code for a particular product. And for many products that come in round containers, we also made this little stand that you can put in front of the VoiceIt to kind of pre-position where the uh, where the product would be and make it easier for the person to properly position the code so that the uh, VoiceIt will see it. So let's take a look at a couple of these and see what they do. And again, this only works if you have recorded um, a voice file. I'm tipping this up a little bit so I get a better shot down at this area. So in this example, I've recorded um, a WAV file for each of these bottles, but not everything here, uh, with the content that I assume someone would want to know about if they wanted to know what was in a particular bottle. So this is the vitamin D3. I'm going to put it here, bring it to the front. I guess I push it back a little bit. Or bring it this way, and just all you do is turn it till we get a successful read. Oh, you know what? I'm in a folder that. Let me reset this. Okay, so now we're in the EN subfolder. Let's put this here, rotate. I'm going to rotate it until the barcode is recognized by the VoiceIt.
This bottle contains vitamin D3 tablets. Take one a day with food. They expire June 2025.
So that was what I put in the WAV file. And what is the name of the WAV file? Well, it's, see it here. There we go. It's 0743125287071. That's the name of that file. Try another one.
This bottle contains multivitamin tablets. Take one a day with food. They expire January 2024.
You may ask yourself, weren't we hearing a tone when there was a successful read? Well, we're not hearing that tone because I did a reset on the box and that turned that off. So let's put this back in place. Turn on sound when reading codes. Let's try this again. Well, did I successfully set that setting? Let's go ahead and turn on beeps for successful settings. Maybe I didn't successfully set it. Okay, so let's turn on sound when reading codes. So let's try this again. Where are you? So you just keep turning this until it sees, it'll let you know when it sees the code. Well, we're not seeing the code.
This bottle contains multivitamin tablets. Take one a day with food. They expire January 2024.
So I was a little too close there, or I had the QR code reader module at the wrong angle, that it wasn't in the field of view. So you'll have to experiment with that. Let's try Metamucil. And this is big enough it needs the bigger circle.
This bottle contains Metamucil powder. Put 1 to 2 rounded teaspoons in an empty glass. Mix briskly with 8 ounces of cool liquid. Drink promptly. The Metamucil expires February 2025.
Again, that's whatever I decided to put in there. So it can be an entire set of instructions, or it can just be whatever minimal. It could just tell you what the bottle contains, and then that's it. Now, I haven't recorded any kind of WAV file for this guy, so let's see what happens. Okay. And this is set up right now to not do anything with something it sees within 3 seconds unless it's something new. So we hear the beep. It can recognize this, but it can't find a file to play with the name based on the what's encoded on the barcode. So I've taken the book Goodnight Moon, and this one is both in English and Spanish. And I've done, um, I put a sticker on the front that it has a QR code printed on it, and this QR code um, has the letters. I'll just show you the same thing here has these letters on it, GM_complete. So it's going to play that audio file that is every page separated by a uh, a beep to turn you to the new, ask you to turn a page. And I've got a sticker on an RFID sticker on the back, so I can use an RFID reader, part of the VoiceIt, to do the same thing. It's got the same letters encoded on it. And I created a copy of that same complete file. Let's get close here. Can you see that? Because the book has a barcode, I can also use the barcode to kick off the reading of the book. I just have to have a file with the barcode as its name the barcode encoding as its name rather than GM_complete. So let's take a look at all three of these in action. The first thing we'll do is we'll just do the RFID tag, the guy on the back here.
Goodnight Moon. In the great green room, there was a telephone and a red balloon and a picture of the cow jumping over the moon. And there were 3 little bears sitting on chairs.
All right, so there's no way for me to interrupt this file while it's
And
playing
2 little kittens
other
and a
than to
pair of
reset it,
mittens.
and that's what I'll do.
And a
All right, so now we'll do the same thing, but we'll use the sticky barcode on the front. It's playing the exact same file because it's encoded with the exact same text.
Goodnight Moon.
All right, we know where this is going, so I'm going to reset it again.
In the
The last thing I'll do here is I'll just use the barcode that's on the book to set things off.
Goodnight Moon. In the great green room, there was a telephone.
And we've gone ahead and recorded all the same pages in Spanish because the book has Spanish wording if you choose it.
Español. Buenas noches, Luna. En la gran habitación verde hay un teléfono, un globo rojo y un cuadro de una vaquita que salta sobre la luna. Y otro más con 3 ositos sentaditos en sus sillas.
All right, so the voice that can easily read the book there. And I would encourage you, buy the book unless you already have it. And then you can comfortably play those files. The last thing I want to show you is a nice integration of the reading capability of the VoiceIt and the oh, let's put it, no, we'll just put it here. And the ability of the iPad to display pictures along with a QR code. So I've scanned the pages of the book and I've embedded or attached the QR code for that page to the picture. I did all this in Microsoft PowerPoint and then generated a PDF file from that. So the uh, the iPad can display each page. So we'll bring that up here on the iPad. So what I did is I have scanned the book and put the associated QR code. This QR code just has star GM on it. And we know what that does. It puts us in the associated GM folder and plays the GM_info WAV file. So we're in English right now, but for the fun of it, I'm going to go ahead and put us in Spanish if I can find that tag.
Español.
All right, so now let's read this book in Spanish just by using the capabilities of the Acrobat Reader program on the iPad.
Buenas noches, Luna. En la gran habitación verde hay un teléfono, un globo rojo y un cuadro de una vaquita que salta sobre la luna.
Now I could also have turned on the tone that told me it was successfully read the code, so I didn't have to do that little wave here to make sure that it's properly seeing the code. So in this way, you can take as long as you want to examine the picture, and before you move on to the next page.
Y otro más con 3 ositos sentaditos en sus sillas. 2 gatitos juguetones, 2 calcines y 2 mitones. Y una casa de muñecas y un ratón que corretea.
So there's no rush to kind of beat the tone and move on to the next page. Here you can just take your time. Now you do have to position the iPad so that it can see so that the VoiceIt can see the code. All right, so that's the final thing I wanted to show you about just interesting ways to use the VoiceIt with QR codes, barcodes, and RFID tags.